In this video, we're going to show you how to get all of your cables hidden, including the power cord, when you have your TV mounted on the wall. We're going to do that by showing you how to install this cable management and power kit from Echogear. The reason why we ended up going with this power kit is because it had a lot of great reviews online, and after digging into the company Echogear, it turns out they're owned by another company called Legrand, and Legrand has been in the audiovisual industry for quite some time now. So between that and the good reviews, we decided to go ahead and give this a shot. If you're interested in purchasing this, we'll have links in the description below where you can go and check this out at its current price. Okay, so this is the piece that's installed at the bottom where your power goes. All you have to do is cut a hole in the wall and then tighten some screws down, and these little fins will pop out and tighten this up against the drywall. So this part goes at the bottom next to your power source. The other piece that's included with this is the top part. This goes behind the TV, and this has a power cord already built into this. So what you'll do is once you cut the hole at the top, and you have the hole at the bottom, we'll feed this cable through the top hole and get it out the bottom. And it's the same thing on this top plate. There's fins here that hold this in place as well. And also here you'll see that there's a plug on this side to let you plug in your television to this outlet. Now you also might be wondering why we're installing a kit like this that has a power cord built into it instead of just like installing a cup and running the cord that comes with the TV inside of the wall. And the reason why we're not doing that is because just using the cord that comes with the TV, and if you put it inside the wall, it's actually an electrical code violation. So we want to make sure everything is safe and legal, so we're using a kit that has the power built into it. And last but not least, if you're worried about drilling the hole, they actually include the hole saw as well. So when we cut this hole in the wall, we want to make sure we're not putting the hole over a stud. So we want to make sure this isn't an empty cavity in the wall. And to make sure we know where our studs are, we're going to use the stud finder just to confirm. Make sure we're in the cavity in a wall. Find the first stud. There's a stud over here, and it looks like it's right about there. So this spot right here is open. So we're going to try and get kind of in the center of this just to make sure we don't run into any problems. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to put this about the same level as these two boxes already, so that way it looks a little bit more polished. And as you can see here, there was a cable inside. This is actually an Ethernet cable, and since we took our time, we ended up not cutting through it, which is great. So next we want to make sure we align the next hole up with the one that's below. It needs to be in the same cavity at least, because if you go across where there's a stud, you're not going to be able to feed the cables through. So make sure it's in the same cavity. The other thing to know with this kit is both holes can be at most 5 feet apart. And so between this TV is mounted right at 5 feet from the floor. So we're not going to have any problems with distance on this one. If you get it as close as possible to straight up and down, it's going to make it easier to get the wires fed straight through the wall. We also want to make sure that we don't get too close to the mount because there's a trim piece that goes over this and covers it up. So we want to space this out as much as we can here while still being above the bottom of the TV. Now that's the advantage of having the hole right underneath the one on top, is you can actually grab the cables that you feed down pretty easily. Here's this end, so we'll go ahead and pull this through. Now, if you have problems getting the wires through the wall, if you can't actually find the wires in the wall and you need help getting them pulled through, you might need to use another tool called fish tape, and this is available at your hardware store. You don't necessarily have to have this, but no, it's an option in case you need it. Also, if you have these end cap protectors that come with cables when they're new, it's best to leave these on when you fish them through the wall, so that way the connection doesn't get dusty with all the drywall dust. Next, we need to pop off this trim plate, and then we're going to install this cord into this cup. Pull this off, and we'll put this in the back, and then we'll put this plate back on, and we'll screw it down. Make sure to not get this too tight because you don't want this to strip since it's just plastic. Next, we'll need to feed these low voltage cables through. So we've got 4 HDMI cables, an Ethernet cord, and an optical cable in our case. Since I have so many cables, I actually don't know how easy it's going to be to feed through this little slit here. So I'm going to remove this and just feed them through this way. That way it will also let me be able to readjust these in the wall if I need to pull more cable through the bottom or through the top if I need it. All right, now we're going to feed this cup back up into the wall. I'm making sure that these fins aren't out. You put these in. And I'm just going to work it in here. And there we go. Now I need to tighten the fins down so that way it grips the wall. I'm also actually going to try and hold this level while I tighten it. Again, keep in mind, these are just plastic fins on the inside, which are typically fine. You just don't want to over tighten it. Now we'll need to feed these cables through this cup. And snap it on. All right, so now the bottom one is installed. Let's go up to the top cup. Same process as before. We'll just pop this trim plate off. Again, I have so many cables, I'm gonna pop out this piece here, so that way I have enough room. And I'm just gonna run these cables through. Pull these through here. And I also have to feed this power cord into the wall at the same time. And same process as before, we'll make sure these fins are pushed in. If they're pushed into this point, you can see it's still sticking out, so we need to make sure it's up and push back like that. Otherwise, if they're sticking out here, you're not gonna be able to get this cup into the hole. So make sure all these fins are back here, and then you can insert it. Okay. All right, so since these cables are too short up here, I'm gonna need to pull some of it back up to the top of the wall. So what I'm gonna do to make it easier is I'm gonna push the wires in at the bottom and pull it at the same time, so that way it doesn't bind up. The other thing that makes this easier is the fact that I don't have those gaskets in place, these here. These would be fine if you only have 1 or 2 cables to be able to move these cables around, but if you have as many as I do here, it'd make it pretty difficult. So leaving those out is actually a really good call if you have a bunch of cables going into the wall. The last thing you have to do is plug in the TV. What you need to do at the bottom here is you need to plug in the power cord to a powered outlet and then plug the other end into this cup. That'll get power going up to the TV, and then you can make your power connection from the TV to the cup up top, and everything is ready to go. Cable management's all done. Now we can push the TV back in place. All right, so now that we have everything back in place, all the wires are hidden and it looks really good. So again, if you're interested in the product that we use to do this, we'll have links in the description below where you can go and check that out. Also, if you're interested in how we got this TV on the wall in the first place, we'll have a link in the description for that video as well that shows you how to mount a TV to the wall. As always, at the Top Homeowner, our goal is to help you become the best homeowner that you can possibly be. Thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.